This is the mission history for the third week of May from Pastor James Huang. And today, we're going to dive into the absolutely incredible story of the Sorae Church. All right, let's get right into it. The Sorae Church. It was founded way back on May 16, 1883. Now, you might think, okay, it's the first church in Korea, that's a big deal. And you'd be right. But the real story, the part that's truly fascinating, isn't just that it was the first, it's how it came to be. This is a story that truly shaped the course of history in Korea.
And you can see this incredible pride right on the wall of the restored church building today. It says, "This Sorae Church is the first church established on this land purely by our ancestors, and it is the root of the Korean church." I mean, wow. Pay close attention to that phrase, purely by our ancestors. That little phrase, it's the key to this whole incredible story.
So, the big question is, who pulled this off? Who was behind such an amazing, unprecedented achievement? Well, the story starts with a man you'd probably never expect. An ordinary ginseng merchant named Seo Sang-ryun. Yeah, this guy's whole world was just about business, Traveling back and forth between Manchuria and Joseon, selling ginseng, that was his life. But then a crisis hits, a really serious life-or-death situation that would completely derail his path and, believe it or not, change the future of faith in Korea forever.
And his transformation was, well, it was incredibly fast. Just look at this. In 1878, he's only 30 years old, and he gets so sick with this fever, he's literally at death's door. His friends rush him to a missionary hospital where he meets John Ross and John McIntyre. And in his desperation, he makes a promise. If he recovers, he'll believe in Jesus. Well, guess what? He gets better, he keeps that promise, gets baptized, and suddenly his life has this whole new mission that's way, way bigger than selling ginseng.
And his first task wasn't just, go and believe. No, it was something monumental. He was asked to help create the very tool of belief for his people. He started working right away with John Ross to translate the New Testament into Korean. And this became the legendary Ross version, the very first of its kind. Okay, so the story is really starting to build now, right? With these newly translated Bibles in hand, Seo Sang-ryun begins a journey back home. And let me tell you, this was an incredibly dangerous trip.
So, in 1883, he makes his move. He crosses the Amnok River to get back into Joseon. But he's not carrying ginseng this time. Nope. His cargo is, well, it's illegal contraband. He's smuggling 100 copies of the brand new Korean language Bible.
And his mission nearly ended before it even began. He was caught by customs. But somehow, in a pretty miraculous escape, he managed to get away, salvaging just 10 of those Bibles. He had to run, and he fled to the only safe place he could think of, his mother's hometown, this tiny little village called Sorae. Now, with just those 10 Bibles, something amazing started to happen. The community in Sorae began to grow, people were interested. So Sang-ryun saw the potential here and contacted John Ross again, saying, "We need more." So this time, they got smarter. To avoid that risky land route, a massive shipment, we're talking 6,000 Bibles, was sent by boat, ready to spread across the entire country. So those first seeds of faith, planted with just 10 books, they just exploded in Sorae. The growth was incredibly fast. And pretty soon, this growing community of believers faced their next big challenge. They needed a building, a proper church.
And just look at how effective the message was. I mean, this is staggering. Out of 58 families living in the entire village, 50 of them converted. 50! We're not talking about a fringe group here. This was the very heart of the community. They were all in and they were ready to build their church. Now, around this time, Western missionaries, guys like Horace Underwood, were starting to arrive in Korea. And this created a really interesting situation. Suddenly, there was an obvious source of money for their new church building. But it also forced them to make a really critical choice, a choice about who they wanted to be.
So here's the dilemma they faced. You have option A, missionary Horace Underwood hears about their plans and offers to pay for the whole thing. I mean, that's foreign financial aid, a huge help. Or you have option B. They stick to their principles of Korean self-reliance and figure out how to build it with their own hands and their own resources. What would they do?
And this is the pivotal moment. Seo Sang-ryun, speaking for the whole community, politely refused the money. He said no. They chose the harder path because they were absolutely determined to build this church purely with their own strength, to make it truly theirs.
Now, Underwood was a bit disappointed, but you know what? He was also super impressed by their conviction. He still wanted to help, to contribute something as a sign of his support. If he couldn't give money, what could he give? He gave them a symbolic gift. 5 of them. But 5 what?
He gave them 5 American lamps. Oil lamps. Think about that. It's a small gift, right? But it became this incredibly powerful symbol. It represented cooperation without dependency. It was American light, sure, but it was illuminating a church built completely from the ground up by Korean hands.
And that one decision, that choice to turn down the money but accept the lamps, is what really cemented the legacy of the Sorae Church. It's what makes this story so important.
Because when you boil it all down, this is why Sorae matters so much. It's not just the first church. It's remembered as a powerful model of independence, of a self-reliant faith. It was proof that this wasn't some foreign import. It was something that could be built by Korean hands for the Korean people. It truly became the root of the entire Korean church.
Pastor James Huang, who studies Korean mission history, served as a missionary in China and is now based in Maryland in the United States. He shares these stories each week from his book, Remember and Repay: 52 Weeks of Mission Meditations.